Good morning, friends and traders. Welcome to the opening call. This is Top Step TV. We've got John the Goat Hogan. We got Coach Vince, head coach of the Market Makers. Good morning, folks. We are in early again, coming out of the gate swinging here. We just got in a short position in gold. House account short 5 micros from 33.0660. We were looking at that 1 minute opening range as we do every morning. Just triggered a short. So we are in the market. We've got a CYA all the way up at 33.1260, which lines up with overnight VWAP. We've got overnight inventory to the long side. Huge buying pressure coming in. We were just talking in the green room. Could this be see money, take money opportunity on either side of the market? Coach Vince, good morning. How are you feeling about this gold trade right now?
Well, let me try to share my charts. Maybe start with Hogue real quick because I'm just firing them up here.
You like this trade? Do you not like this trade? Yep. Heavy buying overnight.
We are holding above overnight VWAP. We're sitting right on it right now. It's right in the middle of a session gap from last week. It's a weekend gap, so there's no activity there. And we were looking at possibly a gap fill yesterday in gold. To fill the gap to the upside, it's 33.28.5. The bottom of the gap, which I think would be a good target for this short if it does play our way, would be 32.95 half. It's opening with a gap. If you can't close the gap relatively early, we're looking for longs. But an overnight inventory could push us down to the bottom of that gap, and it still doesn't close the session gap to yesterday. So we'll see. We know the risk.
32.
Risk it to biscuit.
No risk it, no biscuit. 32.95 half. Just mark that on my chart.
Yeah, if you pull up my chart, a couple ticks. I'll take a look at it.
Vince, you look fantastic today, by the way. Love the hair. Did you get a haircut?
Thanks. So I know I need to get one. Actually, it's getting pretty long right now. So thank you.
You got the rock star thing going today.
Thank you. All right. So look at settlement, right? We have a lot of overnight inventory here to the long side. Settlement is at 32.8460, if I'm not mistaken there. We had 2 days of building open interest. So money came into the long side, but look at this overnight inventory. This has me really, really excited right now. Actually, I like the short because if these guys get spooked out, we're going to get a nice move here in gold.
And yes, you are correct, sir. That is settlement in gold.
Yep.
32.84.
As Hope said, we got a nice gap to fill too. Gaps don't necessarily always get filled immediately, but gap rules will apply. If we don't see the gap fill in a timely manner, we'll start to look for position. We'll start to look for opportunities in the direction of the gap. We'll go get into more of that later when we get into the charts.
Yeah, so we have settlement down here. So I like a play to settlement. We have, like Hope said, the gap closed around 32.94. So we what a move yesterday, huh, guys? I mean, what a move.
I don't want to talk about it, guys.
Everything.
Let's move on.
Yeah,
we're not talking about that move yesterday. Okay,
now
fine.
We do have a little bit of excess sitting down here.
Order filled.
95. There's an excess tail from 430. You can't see it on this chart here, but there is an excess tail from a previous trading day, sitting around 32.95.
Order filled.
32.95, 94. The gap closed. I might hunt for a long down there. But I do like a play here to settlement, 32.846. But we have value high from yesterday sitting at 32.8830. So I do like this market retracing this overnight inventory. Now we do have this little trend line right here. So if we sit around 3,300, if we could break this, I'll feel more confident in the short. See how we act around this 3,300 level. But if we break that, I like a push all the way down to settlement.
We're having some trouble holding below 33.05 right now. Keep bouncing off of it or sort of jockeying around that price right now.
Overnight VWAP 33.06.5.
33.06.5 overnight VWAP.
So here's
Little
our
push came
overnight.
through there.
Let's see. Open range high
What
right there, right?
what
Where we
price
short?
did
Looking at
we
the
get a
micros.
fill?
Say again?
Did we get any slippage on that fill?
What was the 1 minute low? Low was 3306.80. We got in at 3306.60, so one tick of slippage. Single
Got
tick
it.
of slippage on our entry.
Okay.
Not bad considering the selling that was coming in at that time. Pretty heavy selling pressure right on the bell.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah,
We could
we're
just slap this. What's up,
Hope
Vince?
gap starts at 3302, right? Around 3302 is where we start entering into the gap here. I think I want to try to get short.
302. Well, I'm looking at a couple of gaps here. The previous gap from a week ago, the weekend, that gap goes from 32.95 half up to 32.
Order filled.
33.28 half. To close the session gap, you're right on the session gap there. 91.20 it looks like.
Okay. Yep. All right. Yeah, so we're in this gap right now. I love the short. I missed it. I wanted to get short there, but it left without me. So let's go house account.
So
Beauty.
yeah, we close to this 32.95, 96 area. Peel a couple.
Order filled.
95, 96. All right, I'm working a bid to cover a couple at 2 to 1 R. Oh, we just got hit. We just locked in
Yeah.
$230 worth of profit.
Nice. Yeah, so
Cover
we have a
2
little-
at 2 to
yeah,
1
strong
R,
tail
and
there.
we're holding 3 runners right now.
There we go.
What was that? 33.
Yeah, if we break this area here, I like this push down to settlement. But we need to break below here. There's a little bit of excess down here that we gotta work our way through.
Where do we get out of that?
Hold that
96.
price.
Order filled.
32.94.60. 32.94.
Order filled.
Nice. All right.
Nice trade.
So what does
We're
that?
still in on 3. Still short 3. Just locked in some profit. We got a free trade on right now. Even if we come back and run our stop, we still make about $130 on this trade.
32.88.90 is the gap, is the session gap close, which we've been unable to do so far. Seeing
All right, here we
a
go.
little bit of no icebergs.
I guess that excess held up a little bit there, huh?
Yeah. Yep.
Well, let's
short
see if
of
we can plow
closing the
through it,
session
though.
gap to yesterday's high. 32.88.90. Half back on the range so far is 33.01.10.
33.01.10, half back on that move. Would you say that?
Yes.
Would you say move back above that half back price? Can you repeat that level one more time, please, Hogue? 33.01.
33.01.10 is half of the range so far. It it can be a mechanical short time frame level to trade against there.
Would you say a couple of closes on a 1 minute above that would invalidate this trade? That's kind of how we got stuck yesterday, right? We were in that long. We had a great trade in that long. We broke through that half back level, and we just fell out of bed, blitzed right down to our stop level, and then it came roaring right back. Yeah.
Yep.
It wouldn't have mattered how deep we put that stop, though. It pretty much ran all the stops before it.
I don't
made the move.
I don't hate the idea with the lack of the gap fill to the session range yesterday and this 32.95 level kind of showing a little bit of support of peeling off one more here.
Yep. Futures Frank wants to get long gold on this move down.
All right. Time to buy gold, he says.
There we go. Which we're trading what, July crude?
Yes.
Front month is July in crude, yes.
Yeah, so make sure I got the right settlement price here. All right.
Do you take those off the daily bulletin?
Yes.
Yeah, I do the same thing. I got to double check that I'm getting the right settlement price.
Yeah.
You know, I was once in a while, if you're watching open interest and Vince, I know you are. So
Hmm.
yesterday, the preliminary open interest in the S&Ps said it was down about approximately 5,000. It came out on the final minus 12,000. Sometimes they are
Oh
so
wow.
off on those preliminary
Yeah.
numbers. You got to make sure and go get the final. The final comes out 9:30,
Yeah.
10 o'clock Central, somewhere in there. It takes that long for even the exchange to calculate open interest.
Right. You would think that everything computerized now would be easier. You know?
No,
But I
it's like
guess
they got a bunch of people with abacus sitting in a room trying to figure out how many open contracts there are.
Yeah,
yeah,
you
for
can't get
sure.
real-time open interest data, folks. If anybody ever tries to sell you real-time open interest data, uh, just save your money and come see me. I got a bridge to sell you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there have been a lot of platforms that have tried, all have failed.
Yep.
Really?
Yes.
That's
Yeah. There were a
interesting.
couple platforms, I don't know, a few years ago that said, yeah, we can get open interest in real time. No. Because you have to know if it's new positions, old positions, or transfer of risk. And it's
Yep.
impossible to do that with the data that you get from the exchange.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you don't know until all positions are marked to market. Again, why settlement price is so important. Also,
Hmm.
we've gotten
Yeah, I like
a
this.
repeat
I like this
request
here.
in the chat. Hey, folks, can we check PD and PT? What do you think that means? What are PD and PT?
PD and PT. Profit target?
You have to be a little more
Or is that
specific in your
talking about a
request,
symbol?
please. I have no idea. I asked it a couple times though. I thought maybe you guys would know. But
Yeah,
anyway,
no.
let's take a look at the economic calendar for the day. We had MBA mortgage applications out this morning. Not very good data for the housing market today. Week over week, composite index was down 5.1%. Mortgage applications down 5.1. Purchase index down 5.2%, and the refinance index down 5%. So
Little
pretty
pop in the rate there
shady
too.
numbers. Yep. Oh, palladium and platinum. I knew that.
Oh,
That's
Oh,
more in D's wheelhouse. We'll talk about
yeah.
gold. Uh,
you remember when
Mhm.
platinum was worth a lot more than gold? Now gold is worth 3 times the amount of platinum.
mhm.
Good spread. Long gold, short platinum. We don't trade palladium here.
Yeah, I don't think that's one of our offered markets, is it? Palladium.
Nope. Platinum, yes, but palladium, no. Too thin.
Getting real choppy in gold right now.
Yeah, a little bit. It's a little wiggle,
Jacking
right? Is that
around
what
at
Dolby calls it? The wiggle?
32.
Wiggle,
The
wiggle,
wiggle,
wiggle.
yeah.
Wiggle, wiggle.
You called 32.95.50. Yep, that was
That means
last
it's
week's
going
high
lower.
too, and we are
Trying to
jockeying
entice
around
some
it right
buyers
now.
in there. Trying to entice some buyers, that little pop. Like, yeah, get long. Go ahead. Get long. Get long. Get long.
Yeah.
Don't fade me, bro. All right, we've got 24 minutes until the
Kind of
top
a
of the
flush
hour. We'll take
receipt,
a look at
though.
that opening range trade in crude oil too. 8 o'clock a.m. Central Time, as always. Until then, Coach Hogue, Coach Vince,
Vince,
tell us what's happening.
let's
What are the
start
charts
with
telling us
gold.
today?
Let's start with gold.
Alrighty.
If we get to my charts, because we're already in a trade in it, let's just start with it, right? All right. So yesterday morning, we were in a kind of a rising pennant. We were really looking forward to this breakout above that, and we saw it initially early in the session. It did come back inside, and it wasn't until later on until we saw that initial balance pop to the upside during fast
Yeah.
markets. But that was a technical break to the upside yesterday. Open interest increased by an approximate 5,800. Remember, that is the approximate number of open interest increasing, but it does indicate that we saw some pretty good buying coming into the market yesterday on a little bit higher volume. Not bad. Medium time frame balance remains. Take a look at the 30. Take a look at the 30, and Vince, we'll get your thoughts on gold here in just a second.
Yeah, yeah.
So here's what we were looking at this morning. Overnight inventory was,
Super long.
there we go, a little bit long, and we're seeing that overnight inventory adjust. To close the gap, we've got to get back down to 32.8890. That would close the session gap. We can't close this gap. We're going to start looking for longs at some point today because we have this weekend gap that remains unfilled. We tested to it by the end of the day yesterday, tested into it overnight, got a little bit too long for overnight inventory, and we're starting to see a little bit of basing occur here. The profile yesterday, double distribution trend day higher. This was such an unbelievably strong move. The market kind of balanced here initially. We had that nice long on the opening range trade, came back. We did profit on that trade, but not as much as we were probably hoping for. Came back all the way back, would have hit our original stop. We were out of the trade by that time. And then it was the initial balance high where the market really started to run to the upside. I mean, even on a 1 second chart, if you had a stop in to buy one tick above the initial balance high to start a new long position, you never took heat on it. It was a rip to the upside. It was a beautiful, beautiful opportunity. And we've been unable so far to close the gap. We're holding the bottom end of this weekend gap. And again, just to write this down if you want to, 32.95 half was their original target for part of our position. We're seeing this 50 session simple moving average showing a little bit of possible support. The other extreme of that gap takes us all the way up to 33.28 half. Above that, there's still some unchecked points of control above that: 33.4280, 33.62, 33.60 weekly kickoff high. Vince, your thoughts?
Yeah, if you go to my chart here real quick. All right. So this is on the short time frame, right? This is on the 5. So yesterday we have, like you said, we had a double distribution trend day, P-shaped kind of profile here. Now there's I put this trend line on here. So this is from the overnight London session. I believe it's the low of the London session. And then I just drew this trend line up here, and you can see that we kind of just broke structure on this short time frame move to the upside. And we got this kind of a a rollover here, So right now I like the short side, right? I like the settlement play to 32.8460. We do have a lot of gaps below this market. We have a gap from the 19th, so the 16th to the 19th down to 32.1960. And then the bottom of that gap is 31.9560, somewhere in that area. And my charts are going to be a little different than yours, Hope, because mine started at 830. So my number's going to be slightly off. I think yours started at 820, right?
Well, my profiles do, but yeah, the 30-minute chart.
The profile. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, so I'm looking at that right now. Yeah, on a different screen. So we do have some gaps. We have a lot of unchecked points of control below this market. We have a lot of points of control above the market. So gold is really a mess right now in my eyes, right? Like there's a lot going on. Did we leave that island top up there still? Or did we ever?
Oh no, that island top still sitting up there.
It's still sitting up there, right?
Yeah.
So that is an interesting nuance here. But for today, I do like this short. Hopefully we can stay below 3,300. I would like to see us stay below there and then continue the downside pressure. We do have potential repair if we get below settlement 32.8460. We have a repair possibility day down at 32.50. So we might want to repair this zone. Okay, this was an emotional move, most likely. Not sure what caused this massive rally, um, but I do like repair between 32.82 to 32.50. All right, if we get back in here, so if we get a big push down, I'm looking to consolidate between 32.80 and 32.50 today.
Yeah, that could create the value acceptance play as well if we do accept inside value from yesterday.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, from 32.88. Well,
Yep.
actually, let me look at my other one here. Yeah, so 32.90 to 32.55. So that would be a big move. But I mean, gold's been what, running $100 in a day. So, is it really a big move anymore?
Right. Well, I
You
mean,
know,
you look at
I
where it
remember
is.
gold had a $6 move and it was big, you
Yeah. Of
know?
course, it was
Gold.
$1,000 then. Now it's $3,300.
Yeah, big
All
difference.
right, let's check out the S and P's, the Nasdaq, and finally we'll get to the crude. Starting with the daily in the S and P's. Vince, I know you've been thinking it. You've probably been talking about it. The upside auction in the equities has not been performing all that tremendously. The tempo has slowed. I think we gave the auction and the upside auction in the S and P's a C minus over the last couple of
Yeah.
sessions, probably about a
Mhm.
C in the Nasdaq, and we're starting to see this kind of pulling off a little bit. So, um, weakening upside auction. I think we brought in some short bets yesterday, an additional 13,000 in open interest. Again, that is the preliminary, uh, indicates, yeah, maybe we started to see some new shorts coming into this market. But when you look at the profiles over the last few sessions in the S&Ps and the NASDAQ, we've seen a lot of P-shaped profiles, which is short covering. A lot of those shorts have been launched. That short covering has been pushing price higher. Those shorts are now out of the market
Mhm.
and ready to come back into the market. And I think that he did to some degree yesterday. It's kind of difficult to kind of gauge the direction of open interest yesterday in the session, but because it closed
Yeah.
lower, I'm going with new shorts coming into the marketplace. A lot of indecision. I think investors are becoming a little bit impatient as far as looking for some sort of resolution with at least a few countries with the tariff information, with the tariffs that are going on. What do you think about that, Vince?
About the tariffs?
Yeah, about the market.
Ye- Well, the market, I mean, it's on shaky grounds, right? We get positive news one day, we get negative news the next day, positive news, negative news. Nobody knows what's going on. The tariff thing, first they're saying it's going to be terrible for the country. Now they're saying maybe it's not so bad. So I guess it depends on which news you're watching, Hogue, really.
Right.
It's all doom and gloom, right? And then it's all like, oh, rally time. So this is an interesting time. So everybody that's been trading this market, I mean, this is one for the record books for sure. It's been exciting though, to say the least. I mean,
Oh
it
yeah.
gives you a little bit of excitement, but I don't like when I'm in a position and then you get some sort of
Wham.
unexpected tweet and then you get wiped out and it goes right to your target right after that. I mean, that's not cool.
Yeah.
But
Well,
it's what we're dealing with right now.
overnight inventory is to the short side, my good friend Vince.
Yes.
Looking like we're going to
So,
be opening with a session gap to the downside. We've got this afternoon
yep.
pullback low that comes all the way back here to the 15th of May. Then
Hmm.
for the last time it looked lower, we saw a nice pop as the market recovered below the level below. This looks like an interesting area for me to look for an opportunity based off of that afternoon pullback low and the previous rejection below it. And it was a pretty stiff
Hmm.
rejection. This was an opening range, dead ass low, closing at the high of the day. Now, Vince, what does it tell you?
Yep.
What does it say to you when we see consecutive P-shaped profiles day over day? This was a double distribution trend day, but a P-shaped profile, another
The
P-shaped
shorts are
profile,
covering.
another
The shorts are
P-short.
covering.
Exactly. What does that
There was
do
a ton of
to the
shorts in the
market?
market. It takes buying power away.
Takes buying power away. Absolutely. So if we did see some sellers coming into this market with new shorts, a lot of those shorts that just covered said, "What did we do? Maybe we should get short again." I
Order
don't know when
filled.
they're going to get too short, but when you think about it, I mean, Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days, largely in balance. I think it's going to be an interesting trading day today because we don't have any real news coming out. Any unknown news can, as Vince, you just said it, it can knock it. It can knock it around, no problem. Yesterday's profile was, a normal variation. If the way I
Order
look at it,
filled.
with some pretty deep excess, but opening below that excess low from yesterday, that's a bad sign. That's a bad sign. I think we've got, plenty of room before we're really going to break market state. But, and I'll just leave it at but. Vince, what do you think?
Yeah, so I agree with you 100%. I mean, P shape, P shape, P shape for days. So the shorts are getting out of the market. I don't know if they're entering new longs, but they're definitely exiting the short side, which is bullish, right? It's kind of bullish. They don't like short side any longer. We do have an overnight low that's unchecked right now, right? In regular trading hours at 59.05. We're trading at 59.18 up against some excess from yesterday, right? Not yesterday, 2 days ago. And then the overnight low is sitting just below value area low from back on 515. So there's a double distribution trend day back on 515. And the overnight low is sitting right at the initial balance. So I don't know, you can't see it on this chart, but 515 would be right here. So the initial balance high on 515 was, I don't know, 5.
Looks like 5905.
Yeah, somewhere around that area. Yeah. Yeah,
Mhm,
5905.
mhm.
And that's from the 15th. Yeah,
Yep.
5905. So that's right where we're sitting. So, a test to that level, and if we hold it, I'm thinking it might be a good opportunity for a long. However, on the shorter time frame here, we're looking at, we have this, bounce, come back, check, bounce, come back, check, bounce, and we're flirting with this area right here, right? We're below, we're above it. I think this is going to be a point of interest for me. Okay. This is where like two areas meet, and there's going to be some sort of force at this level here at 59.29. I don't know what's going to happen here at this level, but if we break above it, I'm probably going to be looking long side. If we stay below this 59.29, I'm probably going to be short side. All right. We do have a overnight inventory is super short, right? We closed all the way up here at 59.75. And look at all the sellers, right? They just been selling it and selling it, or they got long. Maybe they're just getting out. But they brought us all the way back down to point of control from May 13th, right? We're sitting at that point of control right there. I think I missed one day here. Let me put this on real quick. All right. So is this a naked point of control sitting out here? No. All right. But there is a area of interest for me, and I'm trying to find this rectangle here. All right. So right here is a very interesting area for me. Okay. This is where the market found sellers, found sellers, found buyers, found buyers, found sellers, found buyers, right? So this is going to be a very interesting zone for me to watch. Something is going to happen in this area. I don't know what. I don't know if it's going to be longs or shorts, but I'm going to be heavily watching this entire area right here. This 59.29 to 21, kind of like where we are right now.
Right where we are.
That's what I'm watching today. Yeah, that's what I'm watching today. You can see right now we're below, we're above it. We're trying to figure it out. We'll find out how we open, right? So
yeah. See if we open with a gap.
This is the area of interest for me. Yeah. So we have a lot of excess here, to the upside. That came off that low. I actually got long yesterday off of that.
It's a 5% off the all-time high in play right now.
What price is that?
59.23 quarter.
Oh, okay. So that
right
makes
in
a
the
lot of
middle
sense.
of your zone.
It's right. Yeah, there you go. Here, let me put on the chart here. This is the 5% mark, 59.23 quarter.
Yep.
All right, let's just put it on the chart here. 5%, 59, 29 quarter.
All right. Let's check out the Nasdaq now, shall we, Vince?
Sure.
Hey, Hogue, real
Yeah, go
quick,
ahead.
Hogue. We have breached that 50% back level in gold.
Uh-huh.
3301.
We have 2 on, right?
We had a mark. We have 3 on.
3
Is
on. Oh,
new market generated information invalidating this trade in front of our eyes?
let me take a
Uh,
it's always about nuance, right? We did not close the gap. We traded down to that
Mhm.
32.95 level, which is the low end of a previous gap that we just got into last night. We've got VWAP at 33.0570. If we bounce off that and head lower, I still like it.
Okay.
we also have the intraday low from 5.8 sitting at 32.0240. That was actually my long target yesterday. 32.0220 was my long target for yesterday. So we are sitting right there right now. So if we reject that,
Okay.
like Hope said, I like the short side still. But if we start to trade above it and get above that VWAP, then maybe something's changed.
Yeah.
Sounds good. We will wait and see then. All right, get back to it.
0110. So it's moved the point of control up a little bit too right now, at least for now. All it has to do is rotate a little bit lower here.
Oh, my POC is sitting at 98.70. Where's yours at?
Volume or TPO?
TPO.
33.0190.
Yeah, see that it's a difference in
Because
charts.
that's the 720 open.
Right. What's
That's
the
the difference.
the VPOC 3300?
The 32.98.
Okay, yeah, so they're definitely different. Okay. Oh, you can only use what we have, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, JD nuance wise, the fact that we couldn't close the session gap and we found buyers there is probably the strongest nuance to me at this point with the information that the market has given us so far. Opening range remains the high of the session. That is another nuance in the opposite direction. I think we're feeling a little bit of cognitive dissonance in this trade right now. But if we can hold that VWAP, 33.0570 on the 30-minute chart. Yeah,
Are we a break even on that, or we have a full stop in there?
Trying to
We
stack
have
the
not touched the
nuances
stop.
as we go here.
Okay.
We're almost back to our entry price here.
Yeah,
We're
to
at the bottom of
me,
the
the
opening range right now.
nuances, the lack of the gap close, the support we found at the 50 session simple moving average, the support we found at the bottom of the previous gap that we just entered into last night. Those are overpowering, I think, the idea that the opening is the high of the session. But JD, this is the opening range trade. As long as that opening range remains the high of the day, is the trade invalidated?
That's the real question, though. Do we ignore some of the market generated information? Do we ignore volume? Do we ignore 7 green bars in a row rallying in our face?
That's
Sometimes it's best to take another short and add to it.
Yeah, right.
Can't ignore market generated information.
Well, we'll continue to hold. We'll play it. We got a free trade on, like we said earlier.
Yeah.
Even if it does come back and run our CYA, we're still up some money on this trade.
Let's see what happens here.
We took one
we got
off.
about 4 minutes until we close this bar. So once this 30-minute candle closes, let's see what happens. I would like to see us close below 33.0240. I'd like to see us close below that level.
All right. Well,
maybe we got some rejection.
I mean, we looked at the S&Ps. It's almost the same as the Nasdaq. If we want to just go a quick look through the 30-minute here on the Nasdaq, my good friend Nick Nichols sent me an email last night, and kind of he was looking at the P shapes and the consistent P shaped profiles that have been going on, and that is short covering, and that is taking buying power away from the marketplace. They're virtually in the same spot here. That afternoon pullback low, it's in play right now on the Nasdaq. We've got yesterday's low. Are we going to open with a gap in the Nasdaq, or are we not? That is one thing that we will certainly be paying attention to. You can look at these charts and almost look at them in the same way. Afternoon pullback low was rejected here. Is it going to be rejected here? IB low from yesterday. That's
Order filled.
I guess I didn't move these. Initial balance low is basically the afternoon pullback low in the Nasdaq yesterday. It traded right to it and then found buyers there again. So we have to see what this market looks like as the regular trading hours open up. Let's take a quick look at crude, because I know we're going to be looking at the crude oil opening range trade daily. So we're at the upper end of the longer, well, I would call this a medium time frame balance area. Last night at just after 5 p.m. Central, Israel announced that they were thinking about attacking Iran's nuclear facilities. So that was that big pop that happened right as the market opened last night. But it wasn't able to sustain price above that. So I don't think that anything has actually happened there. Just the threat of it was enough to get that big pop as we opened up yesterday. We lost 18,000 in open interest on an inside day yesterday. 16,000 of that was in the June contract, which is the expiring contract. There's only about 4,000 left, and that's going to expire on Friday. Not really that much of an important thing in the numbers anymore, because again, it is very low in open interest and volume. There's that pop right after 5 p.m. Central Time. That's when that news came out. How do we look at overnight inventory on this, Vince? I mean, here's where the market opened. Here's where it traded. But
Yeah.
does it go too long and then now we're too short? What is it? What are we doing here?
That's the thing, like I'm talking about. We get these, economic releases like on the fly, right? So it's so hard to really gauge what's going on in these markets. I was wondering what that was actually. I looked at it and I'm like, what the hell? But yeah,
So
overnight inventory was long. You can see it's peeling off, right? So we're peeling off. We're peeling off. We have settlement sitting at 62.03. We have value high at 62.42. So we're about 40 cents off the yesterday's intraday high. We're at 9 o'clock. It's, I can still see this, rotating back down and testing yesterday's high. If we get acceptance back inside of that, then I like the rotation hope from value high of 62.42 to settlement point of control 62.42 to 62.02, and then potentially down to 61.76. So that is the play I like for today. I like the value area play. I think this was a just short-lived, but we do want to keep our eyes on a couple of things here. So let me just back this up.
Looks like we're open. JD, we're opening with a gap. Gap higher.
Switch over
I
to
like
crude oil.
range trade on it.
Gold's still ripping on us.
Opening range so far.
Is it? Gold's moving against us.
We had the week high 2 days ago. We're above that. We're opening with a gap.
Yeah.
All right.
Right here is interesting.
We've got a low of 62.74. Working on stop to enter.
It's going to be on a hair trigger today.
Yep.
Okay.
You're trading crude oil. Make sure you put in stops. Something happens. Watch yourself.
Yeah, crude.
Right.
Gold's at.
We just got triggered a short in crude. House count short 1 crude oil.
Okay. What's the open range? 20 ticks.
Oh, not even.
About 20 ticks of risk there.
13. We're going to take 20 ticks of risk on the trade. It was 13 ticks wide.
Okay,
though.
13. Gotcha.
And we took some slippage on the entry. A couple ticks of slippage.
Yeah, if you go to my charts real quick, and just go to the crude oil chart. All right. So right here, around this 62.55-ish, I think this is going to be an interesting zone. So we're short right now. If we break below this line and get below 62.50, I like this continuation to potentially value area play. But let's see how we react right here around this 62.50-ish if we get there.
Yeah, there is a very long time frame trend line right on our overnight low.
Okay.
At least on my chart, 62.44. So I do believe that this area is going to be important to see if buyers come in or if sellers continue to take over. But if you look on the daily, this is where we're at. Okay, this is the bottom trend line from back in 23, and it's been on the daily chart. Broke through, resistant. Well, resistant here, supportive here, now resistant. Now we're right on it again. Here's where it comes in on that 30-minute chart. Right there, right at our low session low. And now look on the
Order
30-minute
filled.
chart, you can see how it's been kind of resistant, support, resistant, resistance, support. Just technically looking. Yep. Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, we're gonna see what happens there. I mean, if we blow below it, I'm loving our position on that.
Yeah.
Just got to see if we can get trade through it.
Order filled.
So yeah, but with that information that came out last night just after 5:00, if you are trading crude oil today, man, make sure you have a stop in, because I think it's heightened awareness of something that is unpredictable coming out. Make sure you protect yourself. Always use a stop, because I think this is a bit of a sore. I call these sore toe markets, because if you have a sore toe, damn sure you're going to bang it on something. And if the market has a sore toe, be careful if it bangs it on something. It's going to get nasty.
Yeah.
Headline risk is on across the board. Every market that we analyze and trade throughout the day.
And crude oil,
risk of a rogue headline.
Crude oil is a mess, though, too. If you really get into the nitty gritty on crude, I mean, we have a week high at 62.70. We have a week low at 60.066. We have gaps below. We have gaps above. I mean, crude oil is
gaps a go-go.
Kind of a messy market. Yeah, gaps a go-go. Yeah, there you go. Unchecked points of control all over the place. I mean, it needs a lot of cleaning up. It needs a lot of cleaning up to bring this market back to balance.
In structure.
Yeah.
Order filled.
Absolutely.
Well, we got a couple ticks in this crude trade. Check back in on gold.
Yeah, gold popped, right? Let's see.
Yeah.
Took out the low of the opening range, trading back below overnight VWAP again.
Yep.
Overnight VWAP 33.059.
Yep. This is gonna be an interesting zone right here. I mean, did we get stopped out, or we're still in it?
Oh, we're
still in. We never touched our
good.
CYA.
All right. Yeah, that's good.
Still up above the high.
Let's see if we leave a little excess up here.
Ways above the high of the opening range. So we're at a true level of invalidation on our CYA. Hate to see it get hit, though.
So yeah, it did come back.
Let's see if we leave excess up here. That would be beautiful.
And found sellers there again.
Yep. Yeah, it's there's
did have some earnings come out. A lot of retail earnings. TJ Maxx beating on both earnings per share and revenues. Lowe's beating on earnings per share, but missing on revenues. Target missing on both. And another one of the larger ones this morning that came out, Medtronic beat on both earnings per share and revenues. Just the early returns there on those stocks. Nothing huge coming out today, other than those.
I like this gold. Let's get a nice little push here. See if they
sellers stepping in.
longs.
Step on it.
Yeah. It's like fishing, JD, right? They throw the bait in, see who's going to catch the bait, and then they hook them. So we'll see.
Sometimes you lose the worm.
If we get below 32.02, I feel more comfortable on it, but I think that's let's try